Okay, hello everybody. I'm trying something new today, so we'll see how it works out. I'm using my iPad to record this instead of my phone, which I've been using, but it's complaining that its storage is full, so we're moving to the iPad until I can go through and delete off some of the old footage and stuff. And then I got to figure out a better storage solution, some kind of an external drive or something. But anyway, enough of that. What we're going to do this morning is we're going to put this little guy into our winch system. This is basically, but not exactly, a starter solenoid, right? This is a big electromagnet. So you hook your hot into these two big cables. One of these is positive, one of these is negative. And when you flip the switch on your aux switches, or the switch you mount, or whatever you do, it energizes this, makes the connection, and it will allow the winch to work. And it will allow me to keep it turned off all the rest of the time. The reason I'm doing that is that as I sat there and thought about it after we did the install on the winch, right now it's wired up solid and hot all the time. You get the controller out and it'll work. The more I sat and thought about that, and the more I thought about how low the winch sits, because it basically sits down in between the frame rails and kind of under the frame rails just a little bit, I guess, where above the skid plate on the front there. That Rough Country kit replaces your factory skid plate, so the winch is sitting down there. And the more I thought about that, the more I thought that if you have to ford water or something like that, you really don't want power running through all that, even though it's supposed to be waterproof. You know, why push your luck if you don't need to? So I decided to put one of these in. This is an Amazon thing. It's about 20 bucks. It is rated for a winch. Okay, a starter solenoid off an old Ford pickup is not rated for that kind of power for that long. It's rated to turn your starter, turn your motor for a few seconds, and then get a rest. This is supposed to be designed for a winch. It is off of Amazon, so you can search it and come up with it pretty easy. So we're going to install that into our system today. This should be, minus shooting the video, this should be a pretty quick install. Okay, so we are looking at the solenoid here. You got two hot posts that'll split your hot wire from your battery going down to your winch. One side goes on one side goes on the other, easy enough. This here goes to your switch. This one down here goes to your ground. So we're going to wire it in over there somewhere. I got to figure that out yet, so we'll see in a second. Okay, so as you can see, I mounted the solenoid right there. That's the driver's fender kind of in behind the battery. There's already a body ground there. I don't think this one grounds through the case. It acts like it grounds through one of the two smaller posts. One's marked S, which is switch, and one's got almost like a H, not quite, but if you use a little imagination, you'd see an H. I'm assuming that's the ground. That's the way it seemed to work when I hooked it up earlier for a test. And I could hear the solenoid close, so I know it is good. So that's the way we're going to hook it up. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we have consulted the owner's manual, and we've decided that position number 5 is a 10 amp circuit, and blue-orange over here is the appropriate wire. I'll show you in just a second. Most of your wires stub out over there beside your brake system, with the exception of a couple. There's one up here by the radiator, and I think there's one in the back, but the others stub out right over there by the brake reservoir. So I'll show you that. I put it together and I'm getting ready to solder it. Okay, so you can see the blue-orange come out. I've kind of twisted them together. I'm going to get my little butane torch and some solder, and I'm going to solder them together, and then I'll heat shrink a shield around it. Okay, there you can see a nice solder joint. I'll heat shrink that up, and then I'll hook the other side up to the appropriate terminal on the winch solenoid, and then we'll go on from there. Okay, so soldering is done. We're coming from our switch to the solenoid. Solenoid just loops around and goes up here to the body ground. We're going to test that, and we're also going to make sure the hood shuts, because I didn't think about that when I put that solenoid there. I think it will, but we it may not. I may have to rethink that. Okay, so we have aux number 5 thrown, and we're going to check for resistance here. So as our resistance comes down, we know that the switch is connected and everything's working, so when we flip the switch, the winch will get power. Okay, so there's our completed installation. Though I may go back and put a rubber boot at least on that top one, if not on both. I didn't think about that, but I think I will probably do that just for safety's sake. But so you can see it, there's that. Wire comes in right here. You do get some terminals there to hook into, which is kind of handy. Our ground wire hooks into the ground over here. See him come up, there he goes. So not a particularly hard installation. Okay, so those rubber boots actually came with the winch. I didn't use them. I didn't relocate the control box, and that's what they were for, is to protect the cables there. But they work really nicely here. They'll keep those cables insulated, so I don't. I'm afraid that's going to be pretty close to the underside of the hood when the hood's down. I did test it, and it does go down, but either way, it seemed wise to insulate those a little bit, and this looks somewhat better than good old electrical tape, so that's what we did, and now we are going to... Okay, so we're going to turn on auxiliary number 5, and we'll go out and see if the winch runs. Okay, so that was the install on the continuous duty solenoid to control the winch off from an aux switch. I chose number 5. Thank you guys for watching. Please remember, like, subscribe, and share. It does help us out.